All right, welcome to the show, everybody. We're back live here with Kelly Nunn and Rick Davis from Master Meter. We're looking forward to talking to this young man, or I shouldn't say young man anymore. We're kind of old, aren't we, Rick? Anyhow, I've known Rick here for a long time. We've been built a long relationship together over the years, and I'm excited to talk to you tonight. Thank you for joining us, Rick. How you doing tonight?
Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. How was your trip coming into Vegas?
Man, it's been a trip. This is a back-to-back trade shows for us, and we've
You're
been
just
going
out in Utah, right? Or was it Utah you were coming
Denver.
from? Denver. I'm sorry, Denver.
Yeah.
Mile High, baby.
So we started Sunday, and it's been nonstop all week. So if you've ever been to trade shows, you know how taxing they are.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, a lot of energy, but it's been fun.
You guys are doing tomorrow, right? The NA show tomorrow?
We'll be there tomorrow, and then I'm out. I get out early.
Out here, gotta go on. You know, you ain't the setup tear guy, guy?
No.
No, you're the guy that shows up and says, I sell and I'm out.
I'm learning.
You've earned that.
From some of the older guys how to do that.
Delegation.
Yeah, do that sneak away thing.
Well, for guys you don't know who Rick Davis is a sales representative for Master Meter. He's been there for, over 20 years, I think now. So you've been there for quite a long time. He's actually kind of quite a success story. He started out there as basically in a warehouse kind of guy position and kind of worked yourself all the way up to where you're kind of executive. So as a friend of mine, I'm very proud of what you've come and what you've done. And why don't you tell us about what you're doing, anything new Master Meter might be doing for us, and any kind of new stuff, Master Meter coming out this year?
So we've been real excited about, our maturity of some of the products that we introduced early in the game. We were ahead of the game in ultrasonic metering.
Yep.
Those are going to be the meters that don't have any moving parts. And we actually brought them to market before the market was ready. We had to actually kind of slow pedal that for a few years.
Yeah.
The market didn't quite understand it.
How challenging was that?
It was quite, because initially that was an expensive
venture. Yeah.
Yes, because it was sensitive electronics. It was new. All the manufacturing portion of it had never been done before. Ultrasonic's been around for years in the industry, but it was a device that you clamped onto the outside of a pipe. You had to have an external power source.
You saw it more in the commercial settings.
Right. It was mostly for settings where you just couldn't cut in a meter, usually very large meters.
Yeah.
And my parent company, based out of Israel, they just had some super talented engineers, and were able to combine all that technology into a battery-operated, unitized drop-in meter.
Yeah.
And we did that in 2009. And it took till about 2012 for the industry to take notice, and then they started testing those. And the benefit is, one, you have no moving parts, it doesn't wear out. And the other was these meters were outperforming. For example, we would get meters in service that's a 6-inch meter. I mean, a baby could crawl through that meter, so big. Well, that meter and a mechanical meter has a very finite performance envelope.
Yeah. Right?
If you put that in and somebody took a shower, and that was the only thing it was metering, it wouldn't even move. It wouldn't detect it. The ultrasonic meters would detect not only that, but flows slower than, say, a 3/4 inch conventional small meter.
Very small, minute amount of water going through it.
And people couldn't believe it. We had to demonstrate it. We would take and cover the ends with tape, fill one end of the pipe up with water, and then poke it with a pin and let it dribble out and watch the meter count it. We literally could count the drops.
Wow.
And so now the industry's caught up. They've caught on to it. And in the last 3 years, in the large meter space, over 95% of our meters by customer preference are ultrasonic, and about 50% of our small meters in the last 2 years are ultrasonic.
Well, you guys' biggest market's been obviously the municipality world. That's kind of where
That's correct. It's driven initially by municipalities. They have the numbers. They're like I was just talking about that earlier with someone here, that there's 57,000 rural water districts, just rural water districts in the United States.
Okay.
And then we cover U.S., Canada, and Mexico. That's a lot of water meters.
A lot of points of water.
It's a lot. You're touching a lot out there in all different scenarios, from a 5-meter private water system with a well in a community to 500,000 meters in cities in Texas.
The master meter's been around a long time. You guys, how long you been in business? You remember how?
So Master Meter has been in business since late 70s. We were primarily a distributor back then.
Yep.
As a manufacturer, the mid 80s. I came on in 89. When I came on, we had, as you mentioned, I started out, as a walk-on, so to speak.
Yep.
And fog a mirror, get a job, right? And we had 8 people in production and about 4 people in the office and 3 sales guys in the whole country. And
now you guys are pretty big.
Yeah, now worldwide we support over 1,000 families.
Wow.
So it's pretty humbling, actually.
Yeah, I got to fly out there a couple of years ago to your plant and got to see the walk through the plant and see how you guys make your meters and test the meters and all of it. It's pretty interesting to see that.
Oh yeah, it's moving quick. The metering industry has gotten turned into a high-tech industry, obviously with the smart meter changes in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And then my role is sub-metering manager, so my metering space is all the metering that's re-metering water that's past the utility.
Yeah.
So the city will usually do a bulk meter, say it's apartment complex or condo or manufactured home, RV park. They'll just put in one large meter and bill the owner for that.
Yep.
Well, the owner is on the hook for all that water. And if you don't ask the ratepayer, the person living there, to pay their fair share, they're going to waste that water.
Absolutely.
So that's the whole gist of submetering is it's not about the owner profiting. In fact, most places it's illegal for him to profit for it, but he can re-meter it with smaller, more sensitive meters, and then it's a whole industry. It's a huge industry of read-bill collect companies that provide the service of reading those meters, correlating that with the city bill, and now the owner can get reimbursed for that consumption.
So they're not on the hook for all that water.
That's correct.
And when the tenant
everybody
gets a bill,
wins because the ratepayer is going to pay less because they're just naturally going to consume less.
Yeah, when you get a bill for something you're using, you realize, oh, wow, I use a lot of water. What am I doing? I need
Yep.
to conserve here or whatever I'm doing.
That's right.
Was it something like, was it a natural progression for you to be involved with the meter industry, or was this something just came out of
No,
nowhere?
this was totally out of the blue. I was an auto mechanic. I'd grown up in an automotive family, race cars, tow trucks. That was my life. I was well on my way to wearing wife beaters and
Oil hands.
Yep. Yeah, it was. I enjoyed it. It was killing my body. I was 19 years old and already could feel the effects of. Automotive industry back then was still pretty crude and not much in the way of safety. If you wore gloves, you were
Ridiculed
called
for it.
names.
Yeah.
So that was '89, about during the holidays.
Okay.
Economy wasn't doing real well, so a friend of mine said, "Hey, this place down here is hiring," and I needed to pay rent. So I was living on my own at the time, and went down and just walked in and said, "Hey, you guys hiring?" And they said, "Yeah, start Monday." No interview, I don't know what.
Must have liked your name, Rick Davis.
Oh yeah,
You did something right.
His name, it sounds like we can go far with Rick Davis. So
That's correct. I walked in and I said, "I'm going to work here a month, pay rent, and bail. Go back to what I know." And here I am, 35 years later.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's not how you plan it all, and it's how you end up.
No, man, it's been a ride. I've had personally, I was a geek. I was a closet geek. Back when geeks weren't cool, I would build computers and sell them.
Nerds unite, baby.
Oh yeah, I was doing that. I was electronics, and back there was no internet, so you had to get a book and learn, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I just loved it. I would go grab things out of the garbage, rehab it, and sell it at garage sales, or just try to figure out how they work. Well, it started with Master Meter, and about a month after I started, just about the time I was about to walk, they were introducing some of the first crude electronic devices they had, pulse meters, counters, things like that.
Yep.
And I got interested, and I was just in the right place at the right time to be involved. And they said, "Well, this, we're going to, give you another 50 cents an hour if you'll do this." And back then, I think minimum wage was $3.35. I'm aging
You're
myself.
telling your
here.
age, Rick.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I was like, ooh, now I can pay rent and get popcorn and survive. So I did that, and then natural progression, I got much more involved. I was in production for 6 years, and then was IT manager for 15 years. And then just being there so long, I was training sales guys. We'd hire a new sales guy, and they would put me on training him because I knew the meters literally inside and out. And one day somebody says, "Why don't you do sales?" And I looked over at what, the clothes they wore and the cars they drove, and they weren't like my cars. And I said, "Hey, maybe I'll try that out." And all I did was ask, and I got a position. I was able to go into sales in the Midwest, municipal.
And I can
sales.
vouch for this. When I came into Texas a few years ago, I got to take a ride in his Tesla. He has one of the, what model do you have?
Model Y.
Model Y. So
nice.
he told me how it drives itself and all that fun stuff. So it's my first experience with Tesla. So
Oh yeah,
Super nice.
Oh yeah, it was a blast. I almost got a divorce over that because I bought it without permission. Ooh. But here's the great thing: it is an amazing car, and I bought it. My wife at the time was driving an F-350 diesel. We had a big fifth wheel, and we had decided we're not going to buy an extra vehicle. We were at the time we were on an adventure. The kids had gone to college. We sold the house and said, let's just live in an RV for a year.
yeah.
Ended up being 4 years, and so I bought this Tesla, and she's just, what are you thinking? An electric car. 2 weeks after she drove it, I couldn't get her out of it. To this day, we still have that same car, and she loves it. She loves it. We
Became
sold
her
it.
car more than your car?
We sold the RV, sold the F-350, which I love, and we still have the Tesla. It's awesome.
Yeah, I got to ride around. It's the first time I ever experienced it. It was pretty cool. I've kind of, I didn't know much about them before that, so you kind of schooled me a little bit on what the Tesla's all about. So.
Oh yeah, I got to tell you too, and I'd be remiss not to mention this, is that and it's because of not just my efforts, but people all around me like yourself that have blessed me and other people in the industry. And I mean, I'm just a knucklehead that dropped out of high school, got a GED, and working on cars, walked by accident into a place, and I've just been blessed and been able to do things. And I'm not bragging that I bought a Tesla. I'm bragging that you treat people good, you stay around the right influences, stay with good folks and good companies, and you get rewarded for that.
Well, you're a testament of the saying is treat people like how you want to be treated, and I know you're a godly man like me. We go to church and we serve the Lord, and
Yes.
and I think that's pivotal to what our success comes to, because
Absolutely.
we love the Lord no matter what comes our way. We're going to love the Lord no matter what.
That's right.
And when you serve the Lord the right way, you just get rewarded. It's just how it happens. I mean, I don't know how to explain it.
It does happen.
I don't know how to explain it other than when you're faithful to the Lord, He's faithful to you.
I've said that many times. I've talked to people, and the older I get, the more joy I get out of, the younger. Sometimes I look and I see younger me out there.
Sure.
I'm thinking you're about to go down the wrong road, buddy.
Yeah.
And and when they ask that right question, what do you think? Like, well, come on,
Perfect
here.
opportunity. Yeah.
And just to nudge them in the right direction and say, hey, if you'll stick it out and you'll just have a plan. That's half the battle. Have a plan.
Yeah.
And don't resist change. That's what I was able to do, is watch. And I went through some periods where I felt like, am I in the right spot, in the right place? And then suddenly the door would open up, and I was ready. I'd pounce.
Yeah.
I'd ask. And I said, you will never get anything you don't ask. And that's where in life, friendship, families, and even faith, God asks us, He's just tell us what you want. Tell me what you want. And so I asked, and here it is. I got more than I deserve.
I don't know if you know my brother Kelly. He's a pastor of the St. Pete Vineyard. So we run a small church there, a small community church, and we're big into homeless, fellowship with feeding food and the basics of what God asks us to do, right? So
Right.
I'm very proud of what we do there, and we feed a lot of people there homeless-wise, and we minister to the homeless out there a lot. So it's one of the big things our church does. So I'm very proud of the work that we do there and what we're involved in. So, and I know you're very similar in that situation. Your church, smaller church that really reaches out.
We
to the
are,
community.
and
So-
it's the giving. I mean, giving. Once you've reached that point and you realize it's the giving so much more rewarding than getting.
It's not about making money. It's about how much you can give, right?
That's right.
I want to make as much as I can get to give.
That's the one thing. That's my goal, is to make enough that I can't outgive my own. I don't want the well to run dry, but I don't think it will. I think
Can't outgive God.
Yeah, and
No.
it may not even be money. That's the
Right,
thing I've
right,
learned too. It's
right.
not always money. It's time.
Resources, effort. Yeah.
Oh
all
my
those things.
goodness,
Yeah.
it's not hard either.
No, not at
It's
all.
not hard. It's I tell
be
people,
willing.
it's a lot of fun. It's I struggled, in young in faith. My wife's always been in church, and then when I met her, we got married. I was joined. I went to her church, and for many years I was still I was afraid that church was this rule-making body that stole your joy.
Sure.
Enemy of fun, and it wasn't like that really. But I had this, like a lot
Like
of
the
people
persona of that.
yeah, and it can be in some instances for some places, but then I started realizing it's structure, and that structure is a safety net. And then I started looking around, and I said, it's not. It's an enabler. It's like if you can let go, you have faith, and you don't worry about, how am I going to survive? How's it going to make? When you quit worrying about that and you've learned, I'm going to be fine because I'm doing the right thing.
Well, I'm faithful.
I'm
The
looking
Lord's
the right
faithful to
way.
you.
Yeah, I'm going to have stumble. We had a recent tragedy in the family, and
Yeah, you told me about that. What happened with your
Sorry to
daughter?
hear that.
And,
it was a pretty.
But I'm glad to hear you tell me she's on the other side of that. She's back out there. And,
Absolutely, and that's because of family faith and God got us
well,
through
good
it.
family around her helped.
Absolutely, and I've been blessed all around me. I got a godly father-in-law, mother-in-law that really soft mentored us. Never, they were kind of like when you go take your kid bowling, you pull those little rails down so the gutters aren't there. They just kind of kept me out of the gutter.
Nice.
They knew I was a little green, didn't know the way, and kind of just nudged us. And so now we're hoping that we can return the favor and do that not only with my family but with my friends and the people I meet. Just that gentle nudge is all they need.
For sure. Well, Rick, thank you for sitting down and taking a couple minutes here to join with us tonight, and hope you enjoy your stay tomorrow or for the NA show, and hope you get much success for that.
Thanks for having me.
And appreciate you taking a couple minutes to stopping by and then talking to us tonight. We appreciate it.
All right, man. Good to see you.
Thanks,
again.
Rick. Appreciate it. Come back next time.